Hi everyone, we are back in my kitchen. This is part 2 of my kitchen series where we are tackling different things. Part 1 was about the drawers. I'll link to that below. Part 2, we are going to tackle pots and pans as well as baking pans and maybe the cabinet above my refrigerator. So let's get started. All right, guys, this is my kitchen. I have an island here in the center, and we are going to tackle this cabinet that has pots and pans. This one has pots or frying pans, that kind of thing. The corner one has baking, and then above the refrigerator. That's our goal for today. So let's take a look. So let's start in the corner. This cabinet, I have another video I did where I kind of relocated this holder here. But the challenge I have is it's hard to get to things back there. They fall down. These are very heavy, and the things back here are very heavy. And we have to squat, bend over, and I probably, number one, have too many things. And number two, want things that are harder to get to be things I don't use as much. So I don't use like the pie pans as much. Those are fine, but these like 9x13 kind of things, those I need to get easier access to. So I'm not sure how all of this is going to work out. Some of these things might have to go into the pantry, like on a top shelf if we don't have that real estate. Over here, I have my pot holders. That one's tacky, but it was a gift. Oh my goodness. And then I have these. And I accidentally bought 2 of the same size. One of these, I'm just going to pull out right now, can go over to the tiny house. But we'll go through here. We actually use what's in here. But you can see we have a lot of wasted space. So I might be able to do a couple of things differently here. And then if we come to the other side of the oven, this also pulls out. You can see I have colanders that are hanging up here on hooks. And these 2 big pots in the back, we don't use all the time. Chili, big pots of beans, we use them for. But this is very strategic. Like this does not come out unless I, have it pushed in and then have to get that out first. So we'll see what we can do. But I think the bigger ones might be able to go over in that corner or onto a top shelf in the pantry. And then we're going to take, don't look at my dirty floor. I need to mop. We're going to go on top of the refrigerator here. And my roaster normally goes right here, but I'm doing bone broth right now, so it's out. These I do use a lot when we have our harvest, and we're just going to go through some of this and see what we can declutter, which I think there are some things in here to declutter. So some of those bigger things might be able to fit up here, but we'll see. And some of this is going to be trial and error, but I wanted you to see what we were up against and just hang with me as we try to figure out the best location for these. Always have to use a step stool to get up here. But I have a little drinking decanter in the back. I think I've used it once. I may donate that to the church, but let's get started. Where to begin? My first inclination is to take the big pots out because I know I'm going to pull them out of there and relocate them somewhere else. And in that, to the right, I don't think there's anything in there that I will declutter because we use all those pots. So where to start? You know what? Let's start up here. Let's just start. It's the one I have open. Let's start up there and then we'll move right to left and go from there, however the mood strikes us. All right, guys, let me point you up there. This is a fantasy me. It is like when you're sick, but it is stainless steel, and I have another plastic one somewhere. I think it's in the laundry room. We've never used this. Even when I had my neck surgery, we didn't use it. And I need to get the other one out and decide whether we're going to keep this one or let it go. But I don't need to. I'm just going to keep one. And probably if that other one's in laundry storage, I'll pull it over here for access. I use this when we have company over for utensils, plates, and napkins. I have used this one in the past, but I'm not currently using it. I think I'll take this over to the tiny house. It makes more sense over there. I can put the salt and pepper shaker in there and napkins, so that makes more sense over there. And then this is great. It's nice and heavy, very well made, and woven selections by Pampered Chef. So I am gonna hang on to this, and I think it can stay up there because I just don't use it a lot except for entertaining. These I all use. These are little tints with the marker, and again, for entertaining, you mark what each of the dishes is or are. My English. And the stainless steel, I use those when we're doing a lot of pickling and a lot of stuff from the garden, so those are all keepers. This was a gift from Turkey, I think, and I put my pretty cakes on here. So this is a keeper. Question is, does it stay up there or go somewhere else? Serving platters. So guys, I have an idea for serving platters. I was thinking about putting sticky tabs on these and putting a date that I put the sticky tab on. And if I have not used them after a year, then they get donated. So in this case, you'll see this in March, but we're coming up on February. So I would put a sticky tab that says February. And if I haven't used it by next February, then it gets donated, or I at least go down from 2 to 1. So I think I may end up doing that. I love pewter, and I may move this to where my other pewter platters are. Say that fast 3 times. Pewter platter, pewter platter, pewter platter. And I have another pewter platter that I have used. For this one, I actually have learned from a friend to put the salad on here. So all of your ingredients are kind of spread out and everybody can get a little bit of all the ingredients instead of it going to the bottom of a bowl. So I love that idea for this platter. That one may be relocated to where I have our other platters as well. Okay, I think this is the stand for that lemonade thing. I think I'm gonna donate this to the church. I know they were looking at like glass pitchers or something nicer, so I'm gonna see if they wanna use this in the fellowship hall. It's so cute, but I used it for showers, I guess almost 2 years ago now, so I can't justify hanging on to it if I'm only using it once in 2 years. This has not stayed great. It kind of gets wrinkled, but I'm gonna use it because I think it will also help things from sliding around. Tell me in the comments, do you use liners in your shelving or would you trash it? I would love to know what your best practice is when it comes to these liners. I'm gonna get something and clean this and I'll come right back. Okay, I found the other tray. It is plastic, but it has a little drink holder right here. So I'm gonna ask hubby if he has a preference of which one we keep, and I will keep only one of those. Okay, let me show you what I did with those 2 pewter platters. Okay guys, this is in my pantry and I have these platters, which are my husband's meat platters. So I put the other 2 here. They really are for entertaining, but I like these because it tends to keep the items either cooler or warmer. So I would prefer these over those glass platters, if that makes sense. So I think based on talking through this, I may declutter one of those glass platters. Looking at this, or this one has, ooh, I don't want to drop them. This one has a deeper lip on it, and I mean, it's got a pretty design and frosted, where this one is kind of the cut, and it's not quite, I guess it is kind of, it's not quite as deep. It doesn't have the lip on it. I don't have to let go of everything. I could also move this over to the tiny house, because when people are staying over there and they're in charge of the meal or something, they might need a serving platter. So I will decide if this goes over there or if it needs to get decluttered. But I think I'm gonna let this one go just with the decision because of the lip. And by letting it go, I mean maybe taking it to the tiny house. I'm not putting everything back up there yet because I'm wondering if some of my bakeware or pans might go up there. So I'm just gonna keep pulling stuff out instead of putting things back until I figure out where things are gonna go. Some of the roasting pans that I don't use all the time, the deeper ones, could go up there. I don't use the muffin pans all the time. They could go up there. So that's kind of what's going through my head. I'm just sharing my thought process with you. So let's go ahead and go down to this next cabinet. I'm gonna pop in here real quick. If you like this kind of content, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell so you know when more videos come out. My videos at this time are all coming out on Fridays, but I have bonus videos that hit every once in a while, and I'd like for you to join me on the journey. Thanks so much. I use this one. I actually use all of these. I make elderberry syrup and use these. I'm just checking these out. I can move this smaller one to a drawer because I have two other small ones, and we use these to strain our kombucha through. So I think I will move that there instead, and I will put this one back there. It fits more flush against the wall. And I think that one there may make more sense. Having it flipped the other way, it was hitting, as I was pulling stuff out, it was hitting this. So I think that works better. And then, let's see. Yeah. So I just hung that up where the bulk of it would be up higher instead of hanging it from its handle. So I'll show you that when we're done. But for right now, what I have, and I'm gonna, everything right here in front, these pots are the ones we grab the most. This is how I'm storing the lids. This pot I think is at the tiny house. I'm gonna relocate that. I use this colander as well a lot. Okay, so I don't know yet. This is a universal lid, so it's got layers. I'm gonna move this to the other pans because it's more for over there. These are the pots that I think I'm gonna relocate to either not as prime real estate and either up there or into the pantry. And this one. I'm also wondering if some of my baking could go in here or back here. So I'm not making that decision until I pull that other stuff out. But I do know that this is gonna stay in here. I may look at a different basket for this. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'll be right back. I'm just wondering if this is too lightweight for these or too small, but it is narrower. Oh, I like that. I think that works. And it still closes with this out here. Okay. So I've got the room back there. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I do want this to stay in here. Well, but it may have to move. I don't know yet. Okay. The two big pots are out. This extra lid is moving over. Let's go to that cabinet next. Okay guys, I've already pulled this one out because it's a duplicate. I'll put this over at the tiny house. I plan on moving this over here. Okay, so let's look at hot pads. And I think we're gonna wash all of these. Yeah, we're gonna wash all of these. They're all actually thick, so I really like these. And I tend to use these the most, although they're getting kind of shabby. Ooh, and this is dirty. I gotta clean that. I'm gonna wash them. This one got really dirty as well. If I can't get the stains out of these two, I may donate those. Woo! That would be the gas stove. We use both of them. I had a third one that I trashed, but we're gonna hang on to those. And I'm gonna clean all of this. I'm gonna pull everything out, but these slide around. I think I'm gonna just pull them out. And like I said, you can see I have some wasted space. So I'm also wondering if some of these pans like these that are bigger should go in that other slide out or should go somewhere else. So when my husband gets back, I may ask his opinion on what he'll reach for. When it's just us, this size works fine. When we have bigger dishes, this one is deeper. So we use both of them. It may be better to keep this one and maybe let this smaller one go. So I'll talk to him about that. Pampered Chef for eggs. We just use this in the toaster oven. It works great. So we will hang on to that. It could go up above for easier handling, easier grabbing. This was my grandmother's. I use that for pancakes. And then there's two cast iron skillets back here and we use those. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna wipe it down, clean it, and then I will come back. Obviously, I don't use this. I think it's to put on the grill or maybe on cookie sheets. I think my mother-in-law, oh, it's dirty, gave it to us. I'm gonna ask her. Maybe it goes with the cookie sheets. That would be nice, not having to use paper that I use all the time. Okay, these are going to trash. All right, I'll clean and come back. I'm gonna go ahead and put back the things I know are coming back in here. These are a little bit pliable. And so I put the cast iron where it can lean up against the thicker part. Just think if it's too hard or too crowded for my husband to put away, he's not gonna put it away the same way. I'm just thinking of baking, any baking dish could go in here, or if this moves over and I put maybe my 9x13 pans in here. I gotta think about it, but let's go to the next cabinet. We'll come back and visit this again. This is super tight quarters in here, so I know the cutting boards are gonna stay in here. Again, not working for me. This could go in this other cabinet maybe. So this is for cooling cookies, breads. These I use for my cookie sheets. They've been around a while. They are insulated, so it's really hard to burn cookies on these. Some of my favorite. This goes to our toaster oven. It's supposed to be for pizzas, but we don't use pizzas. And it's not going to get used if it's in the wrapper. So I will pull it out, and we don't have to put pizza on there. We could put other stuff on it. So we'll see if we use that. I have two of these. You can see the rings. I put my ball jars on sometimes when I'm disinfecting them. But I also use these with parchment paper for veggies, and I have two of them, and I like the size of them, so we're keeping those. And then I have three more. I don't know where this came from. Cuisinart and Pampered Chef. So I think the Cuisinart one I'm going to put in the tiny house. I like the size of these other ones, and this one fits in the toaster oven. So I definitely want to keep those. So Declutter or tiny house. These are lids to pans that are in here. These are more, I think some of these may go into some of the pans. I don't think they're just for like cookie or bread cooling. I don't know which pans they go in. Like this one I think goes in a pan. So I may put two of these in the tiny house and hang on to two here. I'm wondering if this is gonna fit over behind my pots, and if I could put some of these over there. So we will try that, but I'm gonna keep emptying this. This is one that we don't use all the time. I do it for like butternut squash, but I think that might be one that could go above the fridge. This I got from Etsy, and it has the recipe for my mom's Scotch coffee cake. So I did this after she passed away, and the red lid that I had sits on top of it. So I'm definitely keeping that. This is the only square pan I have. I don't make chocolate brownies or anything like that. I can always use my pie plates. And I have that glass dish. So I think I'm gonna donate this one. This I do use enchiladas, casseroles. And then I have two of these pans, and they're from That's My Pan if you haven't used them. And they come with the lids. These make great gifts. You can choose the artwork, you can choose the sayings, and it goes on top. They can etch your name on the side too. So if you take a lot of potlucks, nobody's gonna take your pan. So if you haven't used them before, there it goes. Same thing, and it's got a different lid on it. This is another one I think that could go elsewhere. It's not sure where yet. I don't know. To keep tortillas warm, I do use that. I don't plan on moving the pie plates and the bundt pan, so I'm not even gonna pull them out. They can stay. Although I may declutter them because I have 5 pie plates and I don't need 5. I think 3 would be enough. I don't use these little ones. I'm going to donate them. I will maybe relocate these. I like grilling peppers and stuff like that. Again, doesn't have to have prime real estate. It could potentially go above the fridge or in the pantry. These glass 9x13 and smaller are what I go to grab, but because they're on that shelf and in the back, and they're heavy. It's hard to get the size out that you want. This is the problem that I'm trying to solve for. So I want to definitely relocate these. I just don't know where yet. There's 4 of them. This bottom one is bigger than a 9x13. So it could maybe go with the other big roasters, or I mean, it's great for enchiladas, not just for cakes. So I may put this with the bigger roasters up above. I don't know yet. I don't have to decide right now. That's part of the process, right? It's just, I do know I don't want them so hard to get to. So let's see what we can do. Let me clean this out and I will come back, because right now I just have everything spread out and I'm gonna have to make some decisions on where things go next. Guys, it's easy to get overwhelmed when you're doing something because you create more of a mess initially, but this is about getting the kitchen to function for me as I get older. And I've had neck surgery for my C4 through C7. And after that, I now have a herniated disc on C3 to C4. So things like reaching in and lifting those heavy glass pans out, that's not great for me. And so part of this is out of necessity. And it is part of just adapting to our limitations, right? And that's okay. It just is retiring a little investment and decision making. And you know what? If it doesn't work for me, I will redo it. I will move things around. Ask my husband. He says it happens all the time. And that's okay. He's used to it. It's fine. But I'm just taking a breather. I'm going to pause for a moment and get something to drink and let this marinate in my head as to what goes where. I think my first decision is going to be on what will fit behind my pots and what will fit where my skillets are. And once I get that decision, I will be able to proceed, I think, with what else to do. With my highest priority being those glass dishes and making them accessible to where I can reach them. So that's the plan. Let me take a break and I'll come right back. All right, let's see what will fit back here. I'm wondering if this will fit. So you'll see this is trial and error, and mostly error. I end up going ahead and ordering a divider from Walmart, similar to other ones that I purchased, because I think it will fit here and I'll be able to tilt these pans up. But I needed to at least try this one. It's just not heavy enough, and so it tilts up, and I just cannot make it work. And we're going to go to plan B. So I'm losing vertical storage, and that's what's going through my mind. But at the same point in time, this is where I think I can access these. I have never claimed to be a minimalist, and I'm not trying to be. But at the same time, do we need everything? And am I gonna use 4 of those pans at one time? No, but it's good to have options. And 2 of the big ones, when we have big parties, if we were doing enchiladas, then yeah, I would use the 2 big ones. I'm just wondering if this, I don't like it. Let's see if that works. Let's live with this. One down. And it still may change. So the pan I just moved, I end up donating after all. My husband was fine with us letting that go, especially because we have that universal lid and we have the cast iron pots or pans, so I think we should be fine without it. It really was the perfect size, but somebody will get good use out of it. Whoa. I kind of like that because we access these a lot. They could also lay down. That might distribute their weight a little bit better. So I think I like that better. If we don't keep this one, then I could put my muffin pans in here too. But I don't use them all the time, so they don't need prime real estate. Okay. I like that. It's kind of revealing itself to us. So I have this and this. So I'm wondering if this can go with those other glass pans. Let me try it and then I'll come back and I'll show you the end. If they don't, we'll find another place. I still have my deep pans that could go right here. They'd be easier to access. Let's put this one on the shelf. All the way in the back. This one. Okay, I kind of like that. I know it's hard for y'all to see, but stay with me. Tortilla on top, that sits nicely. Those are easier to get to there, so I'm okay with that. Okay, I think this is good. I have 5 pie plates. I have these that have a pretty little scallop on the edge. I've got 2 of these that are bigger and are deeper, but sometimes the pie filling is too small for it. These are probably 8-inch and these are 9-inch. Honestly, I'm having a struggle of deciding. My husband said, why do you need 5 pie plates? I said, I don't. That's why I'm trying to declutter them. So my other one is a Pampered Chef, and that one I like for like pot pies, and it's heavier and it cooks great, and I'm definitely keeping that one. But now I have to decide between these. There's pros and cons to each of them. In the end, it's pies. When I've made pies, I think these have just fared and suited me better than the bigger ones. Okay, but look, it took me like 3 minutes to decide which pie plates to keep. For Pete's sake. I don't know who Pete is, but for Pete's sake. Okay, those are really good pie plates, but these little sweet things are the ones I'm keeping. Okay. And I probably won't ever think about them again until I make pie and these crumble off, and then I say I should have kept the other ones. But you know what? People eat them anyway. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. Right. Let me update you on the trays. My husband didn't care for either one of them, but I care for them. So I'm going to keep the one I want, which is the stainless steel one, because it is sturdier. And it doesn't have a cup holder like the other one, but it's sturdier. So let me load above the refrigerator. I'm going to give you the tour of donation, moving, where things ended up, and yeah, another successful day. Let's take a look at the afters. Okay, here's the afters. This is where my roaster will go. and my stainless steel. I went ahead and put the colander up here. My baskets are back there. My tray, that's the lap tray, and then my serving platters. So that has a lot more space now. If we come down here, I have removed the 2 pots, and I've put my glass dishes back here, the 9x13 in different sizes, and then this now holds lids, and there's a couple of lids to those pans back there. So that works. And then we'll come over here. So I was able to move the roasting pans, or cookie pans, cookie sheets, veggie roasting pans, and then the cooling racks. I went ahead and put this here for right now. And I took the 1 pot out because we're gonna go ahead and donate that one. This is the splatter guard, and the other splatter guard's right here. So this works well. Then down here in the corner, I have the 2 big pots that we don't use very much. The roaster on top, 3 pie plates down from 5, and then these bigger roasting pans. And then there's some of the others that, these are the 9x13 pans that have the lids for potlucks and stuff. They're lightweight, so I'm okay with them being back there. They're easier to get to. It was the heavier stuff I couldn't. And then nothing here changed. So that's what we have changed today. Let me show you the declutter and the moving piles. I'm gonna donate this to church. We are gonna donate this. This will go into my storage because I may use it for something else. I'm going to donate these items, including this. I just have not used it, and I'll use a regular bundt pan, the pie plates, the serving tray, and then this is going to go to the tiny house. If I find out that I already have one over there, then this will get donated. These will go over to the tiny house, and then these are from the first day that still need to go to the tiny house. Again, this is the month of the kitchen. I've got at least 2 more episodes coming to you on it where we'll tackle more cabinets and the pantry. Thanks so much for coming along this journey. I'm gonna close like my dad, always closed his voicemail messages. Bye for now.